Welcome to Property Focus. I'm Kate Miller. Making headlines this week, coastal markets showcase bargain opportunities and investors are urged to think long-term about property investment strategies. But first, to our lead story. Despite great hopes for the Western Australian resources boom, Perth's property market has failed to show any glimpse of a recovery. Prices continue to fall over the 3 months to May, and investors may have to wait until the first quarter of 2012 to see any return to price growth, with lower buyer confidence plaguing the market, according to APM's Andrew Wilson.
I think this indicates a general low level of buyer confidence in the market, and buyer confidence is a very difficult thing to turn around. It can become embedded, and it's like turning that big ship around. You know, once it's heading in the right direction, it's all fine, but it's very difficult to turn around. I think a lot of this has to do with concerns in the general Perth and Western Australian community over the mining tax issue, and also the ongoing debate over the carbon tax issue.
Investors should not be deterred by stagnating prices, according to one property figure. While Australian real estate values are currently softening, investors who take a long-term approach will not be adversely affected by what is part of a typical property cycle, Multifocus Properties Phillippe Brach said.
Property prices on average historically are doubling every 10 years in Australia. That's the common thing that's being said everywhere. But prices are not going up in straight line. It's not a linear progression. It's usually prices are flat or they decrease a little bit and for a period, and then there's a short burst, and there's what they call a property boom, and then in a period of a couple of years the prices go up by 20-30%, and then it's subdued again, etc., etc. So you want to hold your properties for long enough so you go at least through a couple of these boom cycles, and that's what's going to create capital growth on your properties.
Now could be the ideal time for investors to make their move into beachside property markets. RP Data's Tim Lawless told Property Focus that investors could find some real bargains in many coastal locations at the moment.
Absolutely some bargains out there, particularly in the coastal markets. Look at the Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast, the Tweed Coast, areas that have always been quite popular with sea changes and lifestyle properties and people buying a second home or holiday home. In many of those locations, the really high-end, like Hedges Avenue, we've seen values fall by 30% plus. So, yeah, for people who once wanted to buy in those locations, that they may now be back in their reach in terms of prices. But there's still a lot of properties for sale in those locations, and not a great deal of demand. So, yeah, it's good buying conditions, but the buyers just need to find the confidence to venture into the market.
And don't forget, the new look issue of Smart Property Investment magazine is on newsstands now. Pick up your copy for a chance to win a property education scholarship worth more than $5,000. And that's what's making news this week. I'm Kate Miller. See you soon.